This is the Above Average Podcast, and you are listening because you want an above average life. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Above Average Podcast, the podcast where we talk to above average people about their above average lives. Today, I'm joined by Sarah Goldsborough, also known as the Geordie Ice Woman. So welcome to the podcast, Sarah.
Hello, and thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Have you enjoyed the rain today? Or is it just natural with you being
It's
used to being in the sea?
It's a natural thing. I am a mermaid.
Yeah, we'll get into that one. But first of all, I want to talk about, when we spoke on the phone, you mentioned that you used to run a very, very successful business. Did you say 1.6 million in sales? Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about that business and how you sort of got it so large?
Yeah, so it's in the network marketing industry. I was introduced to it about 7-8 years ago now.
Nice.
The idea of it really inspired me because at the time I was actually living in a council flat. I had 2 jobs, 2 children at the time, and I was basically living under extreme circumstances to the point I never had enough month left at the end of the money, and I was looking for something that I could inspire people and help and support people, but also to give me that opportunity to potentially work from home.
Yes.
And not have the childcare costs and everything that came with that. So this is when the opportunity presented itself around this time, and I looked at it and I thought, you know what, like, this is incredible. The things that people were achieving, just normal average people, it made us feel like, God, if they can do it, so can I. So I got started with it. I had massive goals. I knew I wasn't there to mess about. I was ready to go all in.
Yeah.
But with that, with anything, with business especially, comes challenges, comes setbacks, comes a lot of failures. And I think just embracing the failures and learning the lessons from it has actually acquired me with all the skills and knowledge to help more people overcome their struggles in their early days in business as well.
Nice.
So through helping and supporting other people, I mean, I've helped people on a global scale around the world, and being a support system, educating, training, and working together as a team, really. I mean, I did have 2 failed companies, and then the 3rd company in 2020, I joined that. By this time, I'd learned a lot. Obviously, I'd failed a lot. And yeah, 2020, it was during lockdown. I mean, I was working 24/7 on the go all of the time. But it never actually felt like work because I'm so invested in supporting other people. Like, I absolutely thrive off that. And I think when we had that successful year, it was a true representation of the lives that I'd touched and I'd helped the people I was supporting, all coming together as a team and everyone achieving. I think that's how we as a team was so successful in that industry.
Nice. Well, I'm curious, what were the 2 failed businesses?
So it was 2 other network marketing companies.
Oh, so the same kind of business model.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I was with the first one for 3 years. Incredible company. I'd learned actually quite a lot from that first company. But it gets to a point, what goes up comes down. You meet different challenges. You learn different aspects of yourself. And I think the more challenges you go through, I always say you grow through what you go through. Yeah. And you'll get to a certain point in business where you'll feel like, okay, right, I'm not really feeling aligned to this company, or I just don't feel like I'm going to reach my full potential in this particular company. Yeah. But it just so happened, I always have faith that the universe is working with me and aligning me to where I'm supposed to go. And as I was facing these challenges, especially near the end of each journey, I was always presented with something else was coming through. And that would just
a knock-on effect.
Yeah, exactly. So it would just reignite the fire, and then there was more opportunity for growth, potential. And, like, in network marketing, there's a big thing, if you leave a company, people will think that you'll lose respect, you'll lose credibility, you don't want to be seen as the leader that changes from business to business. Yeah. With me, that never bothered me. I don't necessarily care what people think. At the end of the day, my goal as a mother and a person of, like, a woman that I wanted to achieve, that goal has never ever changed. Yeah. And I think when you're on this journey of self-discovery, empowerment, and wanting to support people to a higher scale, your direction of your business journey is going to change. Yeah. but everything is working in your favor. So I wouldn't have had that 1 year of success in 2020 if I hadn't had them 2 other opportunities as well.
Right.
So
Yeah,
everything
yeah.
I feel has fell into place in order for me to be where I was and am now.
Nice. So is that mindset, you talked a lot about the mindset towards it, how you always had faith in it. Is that something you've always had, or was that something that you chose to develop? I'm very curious on what you think of that.
So I think that's a very, very good question. And this will go right back to my childhood. I think the mindset that I've got, I was homeless at a very young age. I'd had an unpleasant childhood. So for me, my mindset, like I've always had to survive, but survive alone. And I think that can be the most scariest place for any person to be in. So I'm always looking for solutions to problems rather than sit there and say, oh my God, why is this happening to me? I don't deserve this. Oh my God, like crumbling and then give up.
Yeah.
I haven't got time to sit and complain.
Yeah.
I am the type of person that, okay, right, I've got this challenge. I might cry for an hour, but I won't sit in that feeling of discomfort for too long.
Yeah, the pity party doesn't go on. It's
Exactly.
not a weekend bender of a pity party. Yeah.
So yes, everything will feel uncertain, scary. You might not have all the answers to, how you're going to overcome the things that are in front of you. But I always say to people, you don't need to know the how, you just need to do the do.
Yeah.
As long as you are doing everything in your power to move you forward, the rest will follow.
Yeah.
So my mindset has come from past traumas, heartache, losses, and just having that bounce back ability to look at a challenge and give it a wink. And
so it was kind of always in your mindset a little bit, like even when you were homeless and had an awful childhood or whatever, like it's always kind of been in you to just be like, well, this has happened, I'm gonna cry about it now, and then I'm just gonna keep going. I guess that's something that a lot of people I think would be kind of envious of, that you have naturally. Is there any advice you give someone who's going through something similar, who doesn't have that mindset naturally? Is there anything you can recommend that you did as well? Obviously, you already had that internal monologue going on, like, I'm not a victim, I'm going to get myself through this. Is there anything that you could recommend people do in that situation that would get them through or give them that mindset?
Yeah, I think, one, work on your mindset. The power of the mind is such an incredible thing. And I think if you are focusing on negativity, you're going to breed negativity. If you focus on the positives, you open yourself up to more opportunities. Yeah. You start to feel better. You start gaining your confidence. But for me, even when I was going through my darkest of days, when I say I'm always looking for the opportunity within a challenge, what I'm saying is, you have to do the inner work, learning more about yourself. Like, I'm always invested in reading books, listening to podcasts. I'm always on YouTube, like learning new things.
Yeah.
And it's about actually sitting down and asking yourself, what is it that you want to do in life? And it doesn't matter how scary it might seem or how, what's the word? Like
daunting.
Daunting, yeah. But the things that I've wanted to do and have achieved, I've always had that little crowd behind us saying, you can't do that. That's unachievable and stuff like that. So really connecting to what it is that you want, what is going to drive you, and invest your time on all the things that you have to do to get to that point. So personal development, 100%.
But it's something that I've talked about this before. I had a woman on, great friend of mine, Emma Foley. We talked about self-help sounding very out there. It puts a lot of people off when they think self-help, but it is true that you have to have that personal development, because quick fix pills, that's why I hate these, and I'm sure you do as well, where it's like, get abs in 6 weeks, get shredded in 12, and it's like sexy and it's like it's quick fixes don't work.
Yeah.
Like the inner game, the inner work really needs to come first as well. Like, obviously they go hand in hand, but I think a lot of people neglect the inner work. Definitely, and because they just kind of barrel through. Yeah, and I 100% get that, because nobody really wants to,
delve back into the past. It can actually be quite traumatic for some. So when I was growing up, obviously the things that I'd been through in childhood, I had suppressed quite a lot of trauma. And it wasn't until I was doing my counselling degree, going through activities with that to help that actually I was unlocking past traumas that I'd deeply suppressed. And when I was going through that, there was times I would run out of the class and be like, right, I'm not doing this. I can't do this.
It was like
Because
triggering you too much?
It was
or?
a massive trigger. Things coming back in my mind that I'd completely forgotten about. I was like, whoa, like what? I need like answers on that. And, you know, like it was scary. There was loads of times during that course where I thought, I actually can't do this because I felt scared. I wasn't getting the answers as to why things had happened.
Yeah.
But I suppose for me as well, it was understanding that actually everything that I'd been through was making us the person that I was becoming. So from a very young age, I was turning my pain into power and wanted to help support and change other people's lives through my trauma.
Well, the funny thing is when you teach other people and you speak to other people, that's when that knowledge and that understanding really comes through. Because if you're just reciting the same things to yourself, looking at yourself in the mirror kind of thing, like, it's good, it's a start, but when you start helping other people and you start teaching it, you start talking about it, that's when you start to internalize it and stuff comes up. Like, obviously, when I first started doing videos and stuff like that, I was talking a lot about, you know, things that maybe as a half knew about, half experience. And then once I spoke about it, I was like, oh, I actually understand this way more now that I'm not just thinking about it. It's almost like getting it out on paper as well really helps as well.
Yeah, journaling 100% is, I would definitely recommend for people to do that. I remember when I was living in the flat, I had a lot going on around us. I was in my face just didn't fit the street. It was quite rough. You know, like really naughty people on that street. It was quite scary. So I used to keep a journal every day of just how I was feeling. Just so that I could look back later on and think, okay, I was feeling that because this was going on. And then just blogging like how I was getting through each day, like it massively helped me.
That's smart,
that I could see the growth at the end of it as well. Yeah. And then I've got that material there. So if anybody was in a similar situation, I could look at my material and think, well, actually, this is how I'd done it. And you can like just guide and help other people through how you managed to get through something.
Yeah, amazing. With the entrepreneur life that you had, right? Obviously, you wanted to work from home.
Yeah.
It's the whole thing with entrepreneurs as well. Is the dream that's sold with it is skip the 9 to 5, like get rid of the 9 to 5, right? As if the 9 to 5 is such a horrible way to live. But then you look at when you actually become an entrepreneur, and it's more like 8 till 10 till 11 till 2 a.m. then you do it all again. Like it's not as easy as people seem to think it is.
Yeah,
so I'm curious, like what kind of process did you go through with that? Is that something you knew going into it, or did you discover that as you went? Were you kind of, oh shit, now I'm gonna have to work like 25 hours a day?
No. You're so true. You've just hit the nail on the head. Like I think when you're self-employed as well, you have to be 100% committed to know that, you know, it's going to take all of your energy.
Yeah.
You're going to have to find that time, the dedication and stuff like that. And I think for me, I was never aware of how much effort I was actually willing to put into it in the beginning. Because as I said earlier, if you remember, I had 2 jobs, I was studying at uni, I had 2 children, doing everything on my own. But because I had seen the potential of what it could do and how it could change my life, I knew that I had to fit this business in no matter what.
Yeah.
And I didn't care what I had to get rid of and sacrifice in order to make that happen. So for me, it was about becoming very... time management was a massive thing.
Yeah.
So instead of watching Coronation Street and EastEnders on a night time, I would invest that time in my business. When the children were going to bed, I'd invest that time in my business.
Nice.
Yeah, it meant later nights, but I knew that the end result would come. And I think it was within about 7 months I was able to leave both jobs.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's an incredible time frame though, when you think about it, especially having 2 kids as well.
Yeah, like
Crazy.
and everything that, and studying uni, you know, like we know how hard
I don't know how you
that
managed
is.
to do that. Like, do you know what I mean? I like to consider myself a bit of a hustler and a go-getter, but I could not fucking deal with that. That would push me, I think, too far. I think.
Yeah. I think at that time in my life, I was going through an incredible amount, and I think my anxiety was like horrendous. And I think when I don't know if anyone else could relate, but my anxiety makes me, I have to get up and do something. And so, you know, like I would have to feed my energy into something positive, because anxiety is disabling. There'd be numerous times I'd have a panic attack, I'd feel like I'm dying and stuff like that. And you have to use all your 5 senses and stuff like that to get you through, which I completely get. But most of the times, the advice that I was being given wasn't actually helping me. I felt like I was running around in my head, constantly, like the negative self-talk, the intrusive thoughts, and with everything going on around me, everything I felt was against me. The only thing I had control of is what I do with the energy that I had left. And
Absolutely.
For me, my passion was supporting other people. And if I was just going to feel better for investing a bit of time in somebody else, or, film like a training for somebody else, that's where my anxiety was being...
It was better used there, yeah.
Yeah,
well, the one thing there is as well, people might misconstrue that as people do a lot for other people, and they think, well, that means I get nothing done for myself. It's like, no, it's the place it's coming from. Like, there's a difference between people pleasing and also genuinely wanting to help other people. So everyone listening make that distinction.
Yes.
Sarah's not a people pleaser.
No,
she's doing something because she knows she can help people. There's a difference.
Yes. I have a huge passion for supporting other people.
Amazing. So with the entrepreneurial side, I'm curious. I know we were going to speak about this before the podcast. I was like, save it for the podcast. Save it for the podcast. With being a woman going into the business, obviously, you see more and more that men are the dominants in business, and men control this and men control that. I'm just curious, from your perspective, going into such a large business as a woman, making it, on your own almost. Like, how did you find anything like that about being a woman, or was it just pretty neutral ground?
It was pretty neutral ground, to be honest. The industry that I was a part of did seem to be very woman driven. I'm not sure if that was just because, I don't know, men might have looked at the industry and I don't know.
I think women make better networkers, I think.
There is men in the industry, and like some of the biggest network marketers in the world are men. But I actually found that women were the most competitive with each other.
Yeah.
I'm not, like what I said before, I'm not a people pleaser. I know that, people want to try and fit into little crowds. And with that comes challenge, and it comes with competitiveness. And I think that's where business can get a bit toxic and a bit messy. It's not a very nice feeling getting left out and, being left aside. I have been through that situation, but that's how I've learned. Yeah. That actually... It's
a rough gig being a business.
It is a really, really hard business to... Any business. Yeah. No matter what you do, business
in general is tough. People think that we go back the 9 to 5, skip the 9 to 5, become an entrepreneur, run your own business. It's like, it's fucking even... Like, you hate your life as a 9 to 5. Imagine doing an 8 till 11. That's even harder.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the challenges setting up your business and stuff like that. Take me back. Obviously, you were... The thing that amazes me the most is the fact that you have 3 daughters. And run. Did you say you had 2 daughters at the time?
I had 2 daughters at the time when I was introduced to the industry.
Yeah. How do you manage that time? Like you mentioned time management, but I wanna know how you actually worked out how to manage your time better. Did you write it down? Did you have a schedule? Like, what did you do to manage that time better?
I was literally making it up as I go along, to be honest.
I'm like thinking it's like a schedule was written. I just fucking winged it, mate.
I honestly, I've never had a schedule, and I think that's an anxiety thing for me. I'm always... Listen, I'm very, very passionate about what I want to do and what I want to achieve. And for me, the most important thing was making sure it fit in somewhere. So like I said, I in the whole time in the industry, I would never really watch TV.
Yeah.
I would be using that time to work my business, even if it's an hour. And when I say time management, like I got to the point where I would time my kettle, how long it took to boil a cup of tea. It was taking 2 minutes. It was one of them old things.
What do you have it on, like the hob and stuff?
Yeah.
Like, whistles? Is it a whistle kettle?
No, it's not a whistling one.
I was gonna say I love those. My mate's still got one. I'm like, bro, what fucking century are you living in?
No, so I knew it took 2 minutes for that kettle to boil. So what can I do in that 2 minutes to feed my business? Right, I can reach out to somebody.
Wow.
I can reach out to a couple of people, put my phone down. So I never really felt like I was always on my phone. I was just very clever with the time that I had available to invest that in it. Yeah. I would also, I didn't have a car back then, so I knew when I was getting the bus to take the children to school, I'd be on the bus for 20 minutes. Right, okay, what can I get done in 20 minutes on the bus? So is that making a call with one of my team members? Is that creating a sales campaign? Is it, I don't know, you know, all the things that come
It's
with business.
It's being very
really.
aware of your time, I think, more so, isn't it?
It's valuing my time. I'm not here to waste any time at all. Time is precious.
I'm curious, how did you separate the home life with your kids from the job? Obviously, you said if you're on the bus with them, did you work while you were with them at all?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I made a lot of sacrifices. I mean, they were quite young, so, you know, they were honestly, my girls, I love them so much. Like, they are the reason why I'm still here. And they're very good. They understand the journey that we're all on together and what the outcome would be. You know, Mum's working very, very hard to give them the best life that I never had growing up. So yeah, I mean, you know, I do enjoy family time. Most of my time in business was when they were in bed.
Yeah.
Or when they were at school, and I had that time. But sometimes I would work. I would have to sacrifice. You know, with business, you have to sacrifice something. And
it's easy. It's easy to judge and be like, "Well, she didn't spend time with her kids." It's very easy to do that, but to give them a better life in the future, I would say is a better trade-off as well. Yeah, 100%. So what made you step away from that business?
That's a good question. So a lot of things.
Because if I had a business that made 1.6 million in sales, you'd have to fucking drag me kicking and screaming away from that business. But I'm curious, what was it? What was the straw that brought the camel's back for you?
So for me, there was actually quite a lot of things that I was being made aware of with the company itself. I wasn't liking how I was being treated as, you know, as a 6-figure earner in their company. The way that they were treating me and isolating me for no valid reason. You know, I'm there to work. I work very, very hard. I'm very, you know, self-motivated, self-driven. I don't ask for help at all, really. I'm always finding solutions. So to be in that predicament where actually there was this one time I needed help and I'm being blanked for months with no explanation, loads of other things going on. Obviously, I had things going on. Obviously, I just lost my baby. And I just so this is a challenge. So this is what was going through my thought process. So, okay, instead of asking, okay, why am I going through this?
Yeah.
Okay, what am I learning through this? And actually, one of the most valuable questions I ask myself is, what other part of your life have you been in this situation, not necessarily business, but what other time in your life in the past have you felt these feelings that you are feeling now? Because I always believe that, you know, the universe will keep presenting you with the same thing in different situations until you actually learn that lesson.
Yeah.
I realised that, you know, I mean, if respect is no longer being served, then why am I there? I knew I was starting to really actually see my self-worth and value that I'm offering this company, and I'm not getting the same level of respect back. So it was just me coming into my own, really starting to discover myself again. Again, a lot of changes in my life, losing a baby. You know, the business side of it was a massive decision. I didn't take on lightly. But at the same time, you know, looking back, it was the best decision I ever made because that company is no longer. So everything that I thought...
It went downhill once Sarah left.
And everything that I was thinking was true. But there's nothing worse than when you have a strong intuition of something's wrong in a company and how they are treating people. There's nothing worse than someone gaslighting you and making you out that it's all in your head.
Yeah.
And
I hate that. It's so easy to fall in that trap, though.
It really is. I mean, at the end of the day, these are people's lives.
Yeah.
Like, you know, this is people's money. People are, like, in business to look after their families. And I just realised that, you know, I'd already started my mental health journey. I was doing the cold water at this point. And I just knew that actually putting my name and keeping my name to this company goes against everything that I stand for as a person and as a woman.
Yeah.
So I made that decision to leave. And you know what? It was the best decision that I've ever made because I've never been happier.
I can have a look back. Yeah. You said something earlier. Obviously, you were turning the way you were looking at your past. It's kind of like, you know, you can't regret you can't regret the past and what you've been through because you don't regret who you are now. And I think that very much speaks to who you are. Would you agree with that statement?
100%. So everything that I've been through, and I actually just had a conversation with a friend last week about, someone was saying that they regret the past. But I don't regret anything that I've been through. Every single person on this planet makes mistakes.
Yeah.
It's inevitable. If you're on the road to success as well, you're gonna make a lot of mistakes. You have to get very comfortable with making mistakes, because without mistakes you won't grow. Without challenge, you're not gonna grow. You're gonna stay still. So for me, I just got really comfortable. Like, I shouldn't have done that, but actually, you should have done that. Because if you didn't do that, you're not gonna learn and you're not gonna grow to get you to the next step where you have to be. So for me, my life path, everything that I've been through, life, business, personal life, relationships, whatever, I've had to be on that road. I honestly feel like I am being guided to the next step always.
Amazing.
So I always look back and I thank that.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for the mistakes I've made.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for the challenges, the trauma.
Yeah. I'm always careful to pick friends, even getting into a relationship and stuff. It's important that you look at how someone talks about their past. Mm-hmm. Even their past relationships as well, even if they were shit and or really toxic or whatever, just their shit. You've got to kind of look at how they speak about the past, because if everything else and everyone else is the problem, it's a major red flag.
That's a major problem.
There's just a red flag comes above the head.
I think it's understanding as well that actually you could be the red flag as well.
Yeah,
and
it's like Taylor Swift says, "Hi, I'm the problem, it's me."
Yeah, I love that song. I actually did a TikTok about that. I loved it. Oh my God. But yeah, it's recognizing that, owning it. Like, sometimes you are the red flag, but own it and learn from it, but improve yourself, right? Okay, for my next relationship I'm not going to do that. Do you know what I mean? I'm always looking back for to improve myself.
100%. So one thing that we mentioned on the phone was that you said the specific phrase, you turned your anxiety and depression into your superpower. So I'm just curious, what did you mean by that statement?
So what I meant by it was, last year,
because people might say to you oh, my depression's a superpower, I hate it, I can't stand it, my anxiety brings me down, I can't do anything because of it. Like, how did you turn that into what you would call a superpower?
So that's a very good question. So last year, so in 2022, I honestly call it the tidal wave that almost took me. My anxiety, depression was the worst it had ever been, to the point I didn't want to speak to anyone, didn't want to see anyone, I didn't even want to wake up every morning. I was going through so much. I felt crippled. I was broken. I felt lonely. And when you're inside your head, having all these intrusive thoughts, the easier option is to give up. So surrender and just go. And I said last year when I was being interviewed by the TV, that suicide doesn't have to be the answer. And I think going through the most challenging times like that, it's all mental stuff. So the doctor, I was being supported by the doctor's mental health specialists. You know what they're going to do. They're just going to want to try and give you some medication to get you through. And I'm not being disrespectful to it. I've been on them for many, many years, in numerous phases of my life, and they have helped me in the past. But my mental health last year, I got to a place where the only thing I could control was my mind, and I was so close to losing it, and that scared the shit out of me. I was terrified. I was living in fight or flight. The one thing that was helping was my cold water therapy. The way that you just walk in the water and you can't feel or think about anything that is going on in your life.
It brings you present, doesn't it?
It brings you to the here and now. And when you're so overwhelmed and in your head, everything feels so much stronger, so much more painful, so much, and then you start procrastinating because you just don't want to move because you're that crippled with it. When you're in the sea, and especially when I dunk my head under, it's that instant relief it's like, oh my God, nothing actually is as bad as what it seems in my head.
It must be nice having, because it's
like
that one
a
thing
drug.
that anchors you to life almost. It's strange. Yeah.
And that's the only thing where, it uses all your 5 senses without you realizing it. It's a very great grounding technique, and the fact that it was having this incredible effect on my mind, that's why I do it every day.
Yeah.
That's why I knew I couldn't stop, because I would rather be in the sea and have that control now in my head. It's the only thing that I can control. Everything in my life last year had disappeared. I'd left a relationship, I left a job, I'd lost everything in my house due to a flood, I had lost myself, I had no confidence. But the only thing that nobody can take away is everything that's in my mind and everything that I've learned, all the skills, all the knowledge, the resilience that I've built up in the past. Nobody could take that away. So I knew through cold water therapy and the effect it was having on me that actually I could save my own life.
Wow.
So when I talk about like mental health and how like I turned it into my superpower, is because I've helped and inspired thousands of people on a global scale last year, just by being very vulnerable and blogging my entire journey every single day on Facebook. And I think that's what people are like really drawn to.
People
and
are craving,
can relate to it.
They're craving that authenticity.
Yeah, like I had a message yesterday. A woman had watched every single one of my videos from day one, and they were just praising me for like how I was, but then how I've come out the other side, a complete different woman at the end of it. And actually it's inspired her to, go get some therapy or go to the gym or like something like that.
Yeah.
So that's how I think it's other people's, what's that word? It's other people's feedback that they're giving me, which made us realise that actually, hang on, my mental health journey has been my massive superpower, not just for me in saving my own life, but for other people that are suffering out there as well.
Again, it comes back to putting it out there, letting other people be a part of it, helping other people. Like everyone who is miserable or feels shit, I guarantee if you go out and help one person do something, you'll feel unbelievably better. It's just crazy, because we're not designed to be creatures, we're social creatures. We're not supposed to be so introverted and sat just, oh, woe is me. We're not supposed to do that. We're supposed to be part of tribes and groups of people who, have shit to do, who need help. You need help, I'll help you. You've got something I want, we'll work for it. You know what I mean? That's how we're supposed to be.
I love, I was just having this conversation last night with a friend actually about random acts of kindness.
Yeah.
So like I absolutely love doing little things like that, and it doesn't have to cost a lot. So it wasn't long ago I was reading this book, The 10X Rule, Grant Cardone. He's absolutely lethal. I love Grant Cardone. Love him a bit.
He's crazy, but he's brilliant.
Yeah, exactly. But I've read his book millions of times, and I felt drawn to read it again. But as I was reading it, because I was speaking to somebody, I knew this book was going to impact him so much. And it's not costing me anything to pass that book on.
Yeah.
And he's been reading it, and honestly, like the life-changing effect it's had on him, that lights my soul up, because something that didn't cost anything could have such a huge impact on somebody else's life and their day. And the results he's getting is just absolutely phenomenal. There's been times like, when you've got a huge team and stuff like that, like I used to invest my time in getting to know them and what they're going through and how I can emotionally help them as well as business, and, surprising them just with a bunch of flowers to make somebody's day that way, or paying someone a compliment on the street, open the door for somebody. All them things I'm always doing, because I just love that feeling of seeing the light on somebody's eyes. You don't know what people are going through at the end of the day, and to see someone's light come on in their eyes after being in the dark for so long, potentially, is a life-changing...
You can even just text someone as well.
Exactly.
And just be like, hey, bro, just want to let you know I appreciate you.
Exactly.
You can just something like that. But people don't think that. People are very much now, it's all about me. It's like, it's not. Go and help someone else. Go and speak to somebody else.
Yeah.
Like, if you think you've got a problem, go and find someone. I guarantee someone's suffering 10 times worse than you are.
Yeah.
And you'll be like, oh,
So
You know what I mean?
that's a very interesting point, because there's been times in my life, especially last year, when I'm going through all of this, obviously walking away from my business was a hard decision, not necessarily for the money. That's just material stuff. I know I could make that in the future.
Yeah.
But for me, it was, oh my God, like I still need to be supporting people though. So how am I going to do it? And for me, it was like, I forgot what I was going to say. Can I edit this?
Supporting other people. So how you supported other people, really? Like once you left the business, like how did you obviously still felt driven to support other people?
Oh, 100%. So I knew I could support other people through my journey, but I've just totally forgot, honestly. I forgot.
That's cool. We'll move on from that. We'll come back to it as well. We'll come back to it. So one of the things that obviously I know I've asked you like 6 times whether you were comfortable speaking about this is obviously the miscarriage and stuff like that. You had a second one happen more recently, didn't you? Was that January?
January last year,
yes. So take me back to the first time that happened. Like what went through your head? What kind of stage of life were you in? And how did it affect you?
Yeah, so the first time it happened, it was 8 months prior to that. If I'm completely honest with myself, looking back on the journey, because I do believe, everything kind of happens for a reason, or everything is at least happening for your highest good, even through trauma. That's just what I believe through my life. So looking back on my journey, the relationship I was actually very unhappy in. And anyway, so obviously that wasn't planned. Obviously I was dead excited and we were both happy to like make another go of things,
right?
If you like, so
that's a conversation for another time.
It is, yes, yeah, it is. But yeah, so obviously I fell pregnant, excited, I suppose, like really looking forward to it. But I was not far along. I was about 6 weeks pregnant when I had my miscarriage, and I mean I was absolutely heartbroken. Lying in that room. And them saying that they can't find a heartbeat is soul destroying. But what's worse is when you're doing it alone. You're in a relationship, but he's not there.
Well, you had to do that alone?
And the second one.
Wow.
Yeah. That was the most painful, but yet most eye-opening trauma that I've had to do alone.
I'm just going to say now, what a dick.
I
don't know any specifics, but I'm just like, what a dick, man. Like, even if you weren't together, though, you just got to be there for that. Because as a man, obviously, I can, somewhat guess what it would be like to go through that, but I'll never understand. Do you know what I mean? I'll never understand.
It was horrible.
Other than that, I know it would be a horrible experience and never a nice thing to go through. So to hear that there was nobody there, like...
So after that, obviously, so that was the first time, and I remember... There was the school half term was coming up, like the week after I'd went through it. I couldn't stay. I couldn't stay in the UK. I paid for a holiday for me, my sister, so I had company just to go away for a week because I didn't know how I was going to get through that alone.
Yeah.
So anyway, so moved on. Obviously, going through the healing phase again. Obviously, things going on in business, and then I fell pregnant again for the second time, and that was just before the Christmas. What was that, like 2021? So obviously I'm ecstatic. I'm like, oh my God, but at the same time I'm very like, oh my God, like the stress that comes with after being pregnant, after a loss. It's like any woman might be able to relate, it is not daunting, but you worry a lot more.
It's there now, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I remember went for my scan, my first scan, heard the heartbeat, absolutely buzzing. That just before Christmas actually got me through Christmas because I was already quite burnt out through business.
Yeah.
Going through a lot there. So that, hearing the heartbeat, got me through the Christmas period. And then January the 8th it was, I thought I was going to the hospital to like just to have another scan and it be normal, hear the heartbeat, everything's fine. And then I heard them words again. Like, I'm getting emotional.
Sorry.
I heard them words again that they couldn't hear the heartbeat. And that obviously I was losing it.
Yeah.
To do that alone again in that room by myself, no support. I just wanted to literally scream.
Yeah.
I get, miscarriages happen, right? The first time I can understand it's a thing, and it just happens. But the second time was different because I started questioning everything about myself.
Yeah.
Like, is my body not good enough to carry? What is it that I've done? Why hasn't it worked out? Why am I going through this?
Yeah.
All the things that I mentioned earlier in the podcast. I'm human.
Yeah.
I'm still asking myself all these things that are like happening to me in this moment, and I couldn't cope with this second one, the second loss, and actually because I had to go through that alone as well. It actually clarified a lot about the relationship that I was in.
It was the same guy both times. Is that correct?
Yeah. I'd been with him for 16 years.
Wow.
And it was very hard because I completely shut myself out from the world. My anxiety was back, depression. I was having the worst panic attacks ever, constantly ringing the ambulance saying I'm dying. That's how bad and crippled I was.
Yeah.
I didn't want to speak to anybody. I wasn't texting anyone back. I didn't even want to do the school run. I just didn't want to see anyone. I just wanted to go to sleep and just not wake up.
Yeah.
I was so down, and
Did your daughters notice that there was a change in you as well at the time? Did they pick up on anything or?
Like about the miscarriage?
Yeah, did they pick up on that you were feeling a bit different, like mum's behaving a bit?
My children knew. I was crying all of the time.
Right.
I would wake up crying, go to bed crying. The kids even would like tell us nice things that they'd done at school, just crying. Like it sounds horrible, but sometimes I didn't really have the energy to speak to my own children.
Yeah.
And I remember it got, obviously, with that miscarriage, it was actually a month-long process because I picked up an infection and stuff. And I remember it was the 5th of February, my birthday, my 35th birthday. I didn't celebrate it. This was where the start of my journey begun, because I remember my 35th birthday, I honestly was preparing myself for like not having a 36th birthday.
Yeah.
Like,
Ems.
I couldn't see it happening.
Sorry, Ems. Could you grab some tissue from downstairs, please?
Thank you.
Just grab some tissue from downstairs. There's some next to the sink.
So yeah, I was preparing myself for potentially not being here at all for my 36.
Yeah.
The tunnel was so dark, so lonely. For the first time, well, not the first time, but this time it felt a lot stronger than any challenge or trauma that I've been through before. I honestly couldn't see how I was going to fight my way out of this with my mental health. And then I woke up on the day after my birthday, the 6th of February, and I'd seen a post. I'd heard of people swimming in the sea, and I'm that type of person that was like, oh, you're so crazy. Like, I could never do that.
When you see people
Absolutely
is it
no
Boxing
way.
Day, people go running in the sea, and it's like, you mad people. I'm in my pyjamas, just chilling with my box of Thorntons or whatever I've got for Christmas, you know.
But yeah, I remember the 6 panic attacks I had about 2 or 3 panic attacks, one after another that day.
Yeah.
And I needed something ASAP. I was in fight or flight. I was scared stiff. I didn't know kind of like what I was doing. I needed something to stop everything going on in my head. I was having the intrusive thoughts. I was like worried. I was thinking horrible, horrible things.
Yeah.
I needed something very, very quickly to shock my body and to fight back at my anxiety that I was having.
Yeah.
So jumping in the sea, you know what? Like, I've always said I would never do it, but I'm here. I'm desperate to try and save myself for that, even just that hour. Thank you. I was willing to try anything, and so that is how my cold water therapy actually started.
Yeah. So this is where we get into the Geordie Ice Woman. This is where Sarah comes alive, right?
Alive.
This is where. So where is this? This is day 421.
Yes.
Am I
today,
correct in that?
yeah.
Like consecutive, no breaks. You hear that, guys? No. I'm looking at the camera. No breaks. Like, when was the last time someone listening, you did something for 421 days straight, other than brush your teeth? But admittedly, I probably missed a day as well. But so obviously, running in the sea. Like, when did you decide to make it something that was going to be a long term thing? Like, obviously, you tried it that first time. Just you needed something to get you going. Like, when did it click in your head to go, you know what, I'm going to do this every single day?
To be honest, it got to the 200th day.
That's when it clicked.
I know.
Day 200. You know what? This could be a thing.
No, so what?
Everyone's like, oh, it takes 21 days to change a habit. Sarah's like, oh, it takes 200 days to
for it to finally twig.
Yeah.
No, so what had actually happened is, when I first started, I committed. I only thought it was going to be till the end of the month, because I just needed to find that release for my mental health, my anxiety, panic attacks, depression.
Yeah.
But as the months had went on, the weeks and days had gone on, I was starting to feel the benefits.
Yeah.
But I was going through more stuff. So the more stuff I was going through, I knew I can't get rid of cold water therapy.
Yeah.
Because that is the only thing that is keeping me alive right now. It's the only thing keeping me mentally strong, being able to fight back at those challenges. And I remember, obviously, so the more things I was going through, like big life-changing events, like these were big things, and it was uncontrollable things as well. And I remember it got to my 199th day. I'd planned my 200th, and to be honest, I genuinely thought the 200th was where I would like have a break, things started to feel okay. And then I had the flood in my house on the 199th, ruined everything in the house. And again, I'm back to square one, having a mental breakdown. I literally felt like everything was just, it doesn't matter how hard I was working, trying to be positive and stuff like that. Like, I'd lost everything.
Yeah.
Everything that I worked so hard for had gone, and I couldn't cope with that. I felt like, again, questioning, why me?
Yeah.
As a human, you're gonna ask that question.
Yeah. Cursing God and all this stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, what the hell have I done? Like,
I'm just trying to make it through life, man.
But I realised that, mental health, it's not just a 30-day thing. This is going to be a long journey for not just healing the trauma, but healing the loss that I've experienced. Like, I lost my nana and my auntie last year as well, and I had to really look within and just actually, just give myself that time for self-discovery again.
No one would no one would say anything against you taking your time, especially after all that. Like, most people, that breaks people. Most people, that would make them drop any habits that they had. Most people wouldn't they wouldn't want to get out of bed. I know you said you didn't want to, but you did.
So that was actually part of the reason why I had to. So you can just have an ice cold shower, you can have an ice bath in the house, and it'll give you the same effects. Part of my journey was I had to be out of the house every single day. And the reason being is because being in business, working in the industry, working from home, actually, I wasn't happy for a lot of reasons. And one is because that was affecting my social life.
Yeah,
I felt like
I'd
lost
4 walls.
Yeah, exactly. I felt like I had lost my friends circle. Because I was in the house so much, I felt like I had I had social anxiety when I was going out. So part of my mission was, I'm going to do this, but I'm going to be out the house every single day, because if I don't, I'm going to stay in that bed, and I didn't really want to know the consequences of how my mental health was going to be if I just stayed still. So that's how, obviously, I started, every single day being out of the house.
Yeah.
And then it was the 200th day where I just said, you know what, I'm doing the year. And then I said the year, and then we're going for 2.
Yeah. Amazing. I can't believe you're day 421, man. That's crazy. But you actually, when we spoke on the phone, you said you never studied cold water therapy.
No.
You never did any Wim Hof stuff like that, which a lot of people would be like, How? Because that's such a big thing. That Wim Hof, the Wim Hof breathing method, the dude in the ice baths. Russell Brand does it all the time.
Yes.
Like, once you'd done that, did you experiment with other things like that? Did you fill up a bath full of ice as well, or did you do the cold showers? You've never done that.
No.
You never tried any of the other ones.
No, not at all. Obviously, I've done waterfalls, rivers, lakes, beaches.
So you're like a natural cold water rather than like I filled my my
real...
lovely bathtub full of ice. I'm like, no, I'm in the lakes, I'm in the sea, I'm swimming with goddamn sharks.
I mean, it's been an incredible thing. And I mean, I have, since being in cold water therapy, I remember this guy I was on the beach with, he was doing the breathing exercises for Wim Hof. Mm-hmm. Now, everyone's body's different and it's going to react in different waves. I suffer with low blood pressure and obviously anxiety. Panic attacks were still a thing because this was around the 30-day into my journey, I think. Yeah. So I took part in the breathing exercises and stuff like that. And actually, it actually triggered a panic attack off for me. So... The breathing, like lowers your blood pressure. Then I was going in the sea, that lowered it a bit more. And then everyone was saying, Sarah, your face is green, are you all right? And I was like, well, I can't see.
Don't tell us my face is green.
I know. So I started having a panic attack. And then, I had a panic attack for the rest of the day. That day, it was horrible. So, no, I literally just listen to my own body. My body will tell me when it's had enough and when to get out.
Yeah. Yeah, when did you take the name Geordie Icewoman? Is that a recent thing?
It's just a recent thing, and you know what? It's been because of all the people that have followed my journey. Like, people kept calling us that. Mm-hmm. It was like...
It's a good name, though. I like it.
It's lush, isn't it? So,
cool. Because you consider, like, mermaid and stuff like that beforehand, but the Geordie Icewoman just has this badass, like, ring to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's like, Geordie Icewoman, it's like, no messing about with her, do you know what I mean? This is, like, consistent, disciplined... Like,
you sound like an X-Man, from the Marvel comics. That's what it sounds like. So, on obviously the flood, I'm curious, with the flood on day 200, wasn't it? Mm-hmm.
199th it was.
Do you think that the fact that you'd built up a foundation on resilience, on consistency before that, do you think that had an impact on how you reacted when your house was flooded? Or do you think it sort of not lessened the blow, but do you think you were able to handle it a bit? You were like, you're keeping your head above water. Mm. Do you think that helped?
100%. Don't get us wrong. I shed a lot of tears during that time.
Just to add to the water. Sorry.
Just to add to
to add to it.
Like, I shed a lot of tears. I was stressed. I didn't know how things were going to work out or whatever. But again, I was taking my own advice. I don't need to know the how. You just need to continue doing what you're doing. Things will work out. And I think when you go through something so traumatic and like unpredictable like that, the first thing that people want to do is just crash and, give up or like question everything around them. Like, you're human. But for me, it was more, I was looking, thinking, right, okay, I've lost everything in the house, but that's just all material shit. This is now an opportunity to start my life from scratch. Yeah. So, yes, I'm having to start again in the house, but it's clearing out all the old energy that used to be. I'm not that same woman. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So, it was just giving us the opportunity to redecorate and get the house
I love that. It's like, my house is flooded, but at least now I can redecorate. I'm loving this mindset.
I hate decorating. Honestly, it's such a challenge.
You could have paid someone to do it, but no, I saw the TikTok of you painting your walls, having a dance and stuff like that.
So I always make light of it. Any situation, like last week, for instance, I was going to a waterfall with a friend and my car broke down. Yeah. Anyone would have crumbled, because me as the drive, I was like, oh my God, I've just ruined our day. Like, all these thoughts are going in my head, like, what am I going to do? But you know what, like, I just went with it. There's nothing I could have done. As long as I'm out the car and the car's safe, pull to the side. We had an absolute ball. Like, honestly, I've never laughed so much. Waiting an hour and a half for the recovery. We would dance. We made a dance routine. Honestly, like, it was so funny. And then, we got taken back. And then she gave us a lift to the colour coats to do my dip. Yeah. So it's always just about, just go with it. Go with sometimes you've just got to go with the flow.
The improvise, adapt, overcome thing.
And then throughout the week, I've not had a car.
You've hated that. You've been messaging me like, I'm fucking sick of not having a car.
No, but again, it's like, because I was questioning, like, oh my God, should I just get the bus to do my sea dip? Like, all these things, because it's quite far, really. But I was already into running. I used to run loads when I was little for the county and stuff like that. So it's something I'm really passionate about. And I just thought, well, actually, because I haven't got a car, I'm going to run it. So this is 6 kilometres every single morning. So I get up at 5 o'clock, have my breakfast, and then I'm running down to the sea, dipping, and then running all the way back. And I'm not going to lie, I got a Thursday and I was like, I don't think I could do this anymore. And then I did it though. But then Friday, yesterday, I was like, I delayed it. So I didn't do my dip and run in the morning. I done my dip. And then I was contemplating a run. And then I got the call. My car was ready. And it was like the heavens were just working with me.
The universe was throwing you a bone.
I know, they were like, oh, go on, we'll just reward her with a car back.
Here's your car back.
Even though it cost a bomb to get it done.
Yeah.
But I mean, I love a challenge, and it is. You've got to look for the opportunity within the challenge, because if you're not faced with challenges, you're not growing.
Yeah.
The key is to work through that resistance. Like, why are you feeling so resistant to want to embark on that challenge? Like, what is it that you're feeling? Where's that feeling coming from? Because it'll just be like a limiting belief that you're holding from past events that you've not healed and went through. So through self development, always investing in personal development. I'm saying that word again.
Like personal growth.
Personal growth and stuff
yeah.
like that. I feel like I'm always able to come up with a solution. I'll have like an hour of the day where I could be like, oh my God, I've just had a mental breakdown, I've cried. But then it quickly moves. I'll never ever end the day on a bad note.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I'll always look at okay, I felt like this morning. Everything looked a bit dark and weary. But look how the day's turned out. And it's all because I shifted my mindset.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing is here, I think one of the main points is that when you, I like to imagine myself as a tree. Mm-hmm. That's very strange. I'm not like an I am Groot scenario, you know.
What kind of tree?
Just
like a palm tree?
No,
oak tree.
I mean, I'm quite thin, but like oak tree. I'm an oak tree. Oak tree's badass. But if you imagine yourself as a tree, right, and lovely day, weather's fine, and you're growing your roots deep, right, and there's other trees around you saying, well, there's no storm, there's no bad weather, I don't need to put my roots so deep. But you're like, no, I'm doing it in case there is a storm.
Yeah.
And that's what most people don't understand is they don't put their roots in, they don't build that strong foundation so that when the storm comes, they're able to withstand it a bit better. They might lose a few branches, leaves might fly off, but they're still rooted to where they are. But most people get blown from pillar to post because they don't put the roots down, they don't build that foundation.
Yeah, 100%. I 100% agree with that. And I always believe as well, when you do overcome challenges and stuff like that, the feeling is absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
But I've noticed in my life, a pattern, I'll go through something, I'll get the rewards from it, I feel amazing.
Yeah.
And then there'll just be this little bit of time here where I'm like, hold on, this is going a bit too easy. And that's like the universe preparing me. What I've just been through, it's preparing me for something greater.
Yeah.
But with something greater, you're going to get more challenges.
Yeah.
So I'm always ready for battle, basically.
I always say that the higher up in life you go, you don't have less problems, you have higher quality problems. That's the thing. So
new levels, new devils.
Yep,
that's what I say.
Yep, I couldn't agree more. So I saw, my eye is itchy. Ow. I saw on your Facebook that when you hit a year, you had all these people running into the sea with you. You know, you gave a little speech at the front and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, how did that come about, getting all those people there, and how did you feel seeing all of these supporters come out for you?
Do you know what? It was really overwhelming because I would say 80% of my journey has been done alone. Mm-hmm. So the people that were coming and to support my journey, obviously I was raising money for mental health as well, Mental Health Matters, was just incredible. That was it was my birthday as well. Mm-hmm. The birthday that I thought I never would have made it to, and it made it all so special. It was just wow, people have really taken in what I've been through and how I've overcome it, and they wanted just to show their support and cheer me on. That was amazing, because you don't really get that. I've never really had that. Mm-hmm. Younger growing up, I never had birthday parties or people coming to celebrate with me with what I do.
Yeah.
So that felt like a very, very special moment in my journey. It made us realise that actually what I've done is incredible.
Yeah, it is. I would 100% agree. Like, everyone sort of, did everyone there, were they already sea dippers, or?
Some of them were, some of them weren't.
People going for the first time thinking, I'll smash this.
Yeah.
Like, oh, no.
Yeah, it was really good. But everyone did really, really well, you know, like the benefits you get from the cold water. Yes, it's not something that everyone initially thinks, oh my God, I'd love to do that for the benefits, whatever. Like, I still get to the end of the shore where the sea meets the sand, and I'm like, why the hell am I here again?
Yeah.
Every single day, it's a challenge, and you're out your comfort zone. But if I'm not out my comfort zone, I know I'm not growing. So that's why I love the sea as well. It's always pushing us to my limits. I'm always discovering new levels of myself and what I'm capable of. And
it's funny that you have this one thing. I think it's Gary Keller. Have you ever read the book The One Thing?
No, I don't think
so. Obviously, everyone talks about, you know, when you think of success and you look at successful people, they, for the most part, have one thing that's theirs, the one thing that's successful, right? And in the book, he talks about multitasking as a lie. He says you can't multitask. It's just doing several things in a lackluster way. And it's like, this is your one thing. And I think that's why a lot of people have been attracted to, because they can see that's who you are. There's no other avenues. Yes, you might, you know, have an opportunity here, an opportunity there, but you are the Geordie Ice Woman now. To a lot of people, that's your one thing. And I think that's what attracts people, is when they can see that success in that one avenue. Like, you think of Bill Gates, you go Microsoft. You think of, you know, Steve Jobs, you go Apple. You think of Grant Cardone, you think sales, marketing. Do you know what I mean? It's like, that is that's what they're known for. And I think now that you have this, people are like, you know, you have that authority now in sea dips. You are the sea dip queen.
I am the queen. But I do get lots of feedback all of the time, like, you know, going into the sea and exposing your body to challenge is an uncomfortable thing. And I think for me, the feedback that I get is because people compliment my energy with it. So you could just go in the sea and stand still if you really wanted. But I go in there and I make the absolute most of that time working on myself. Like, I'll have fun. They say that my videos look very inviting to make people want to try it. Yeah. And I think that is, like, you know, it's your attitude towards what you're doing as well.
Yeah.
You know,
do you think it helps having the camera on as well?
I love it, mate, because it makes us, because I do a lot by myself, it makes us feel like someone's with us. If I'm blogging my journey, and obviously on TikTok, I do the uncovered stuff. So, like, when the waves are crashing, like, people can literally hear me screaming, and like oh my God, the seaweed, like, it's good, but it keeps me company, and it helps other people as well.
Yeah,
so
exactly. Do you ever see the seals and stuff that come up?
Yeah, I've had dolphins in the water with us as well.
Do they know you by name now? They're like, she's back again.
There she is. There's Sarah.
It's like, can you not trample on my garden, Sarah? I think,
right? I've had a seal in the water. I mean, not too close. Do you know what I mean? But they've been there. As you see, all sorts.
So what kind of messages have you been getting? Like, I'm curious, like, obviously with running the sea in a bikini all the time, have you ever had people being like trying to hit on you in the DMs and stuff? Do you get that all the time?
I actually get that in the sea.
In the sea? Well, from the seals?
From women.
What, interesting. Nice.
So, like, earlier on, that is actually coming sort of in the past 5 months of my journey. So obviously, if you're new on my social media, you'll probably see a confident woman, body confident person. So when I'm on the beach and I'm in a bikini, like, you have to remember, we're on the beach. You know, like, you might think you're whispering to a friend or talking to a friend, but I can hear.
Yeah, there's nothing to stop that.
Like I've heard remarks like, oh, she loves herself, like, oh my God, like, look at her in a bikini, like, you know, all this negative stuff. And I'm like, you know what, like, this is why mental health is the way it is, because of sly remarks, judgmental remarks like this. Like, whatever happened to women empowering women? Instead, what I've experienced is women bashing other women. And I just think, you know, if they had have been on my social media and heard my story, they wouldn't even be saying anything like that at all.
But people don't take that into account, though, do they anymore? People just see 30 seconds on. I hate this, right? Because I post, obviously, a lot of these will go out as little clips, like 30-second to a minute clips, right? And people judge everything that you say in your entire life, your childhood, you know, what you had for breakfast. They will judge it on 30 seconds. And they will make their mind up. And it's like, bro, like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, but we live in this generation now where we have so many people on TikTok, Reels, YouTube Shorts, everything is done in short form content. Like,
Yeah.
if you took your time, like I could take a 30-second clip of you before, when you're upset or whatever, and I could literally make that as such a horrible thing.
Yeah.
Or I could make it
exactly.
as such a beautiful thing. Do
Yeah.
you know what I mean? There's two avenues I can take that down, and I can almost manipulate people's perception of it. But that's the dangerous side of this stuff, is
Yeah.
people don't want to listen to, I mean, some people do, obviously, because we have listeners on this podcast. Some people don't want to listen to a
Yeah.
2-hour-long podcast, an hour-and-a-half-long podcast, to understand context.
Mm-hmm.
People don't care about context anymore. People care about what they see visually. And I think one of the things you can do as a good human being, an upstanding citizen, is when you see someone and you don't understand what they're doing, you take a step back and you say to yourself, well, what's their story, and where's my judgmental attitude coming from? Because for a lot of people, like, people have said to me, like, oh, who do you think you are running a podcast? I'm like, I don't know. I'm doing it though. So, like, you're either jealous that I'm running it,
Exactly.
or you haven't took the time. There's something about me that triggers people. There's something about successful people
Yes.
who are doing what they want that triggers people. There's people who are triggered by you know, just being in a bikini. There's women out there who are, might be slightly larger, who are going, well, she loves herself, and we can all look like that in a bikini. I wish we could all look like that in a bikini. It's like, no, like, support, like you said, women, you support
But
each
I
other.
think as well, it's actually learning after many years of being so unhappy and not body confident.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've never been body confident, never been happy in my body, in the way that I looked or anything like that. I think, you know what, the past year I've learned to really love myself.
Yeah.
And so what, like, if someone says, oh my God, she loves herself, yes I do,
Mm-hmm.
because you don't know how hard I've had to work and the things that I've been through to even get to a point where I'm on the beach in a bikini,
Yeah.
feeling as good as I do, feeling the confidence, the fire inside me light up after the most tremendous past. I'm still here. Do
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And obviously, I think with the more success you have with it and the more confident you become, obviously, like I said before, you're going to get new devils, and that comes with hate. And one thing I always say to myself is, if you're not being hated on, you're not doing enough.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, hate comes with success, and that's why I never react to it. I just laugh it off and just like, oh, like, haha.
Yeah. Well, hurt people. You know what I mean?
exactly.
If you're in pain, the one thing you want is for other people to feel your pain, and it sucks, but people do that, and
Yeah,
it's the way it works. Like, when you're having an angry, like, for example, I've had, like, I say I'm having a bad day or something, right? And I've gotten a taxi. The last thing I want to do is talk to this guy, and I'm like staring at him, like hating the back of his head. Like, he's done nothing. I'm just like, fucking dick, like, fucking, how dare you
And
whistle
then
on the
you'll
radio?
go, so what time you on till?
What time you been busy? What time? What time did you start? Classic. I'm going to see Peter Kay next year as well, actually.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, my brother got us tickets. I was, like, so lucky. But it's not till, like, December in Manchester.
Yeah.
So I can't wait for that.
Oh,
I can't wait for the memes to come out. There's just so many more things to say. What time are you on till? Garlic bread. I love all that. I love that stuff.
Garlic bread.
I know. But with obviously comparing yourself online and stuff, have you found anyone that's done something similar to yourself? Like, in terms of running, like, have you spoke to anyone? Have you got in touch with anyone like that and sort of shared your journey with them?
I mean, I have made a lot of friends through cold water therapy, being in the water as such, but I never compare myself to other people.
Do you think people compare themselves to you? And what would you say to them if they do? If there's someone listening who's like, I follow on social media. No. No.
I would just say, like, look with an open heart and don't judge somebody by the journey and the light that you see now.
Yeah.
Because through the, like, if, like, let's say, for instance, right, you're new coming on my social media right now in my journey, even though I'm still going through stuff, but when you look at my social media now, you'll just look like, oh my God, she has lots of fun in the water. She seems so happy. She's so confident, blah, 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 blah. Like, that's people just making judgments, thinking that I'm always happy, like, nothing's ever going wrong. It's actually when you get to know the person behind the video, you'll notice that I'm just like a normal woman with the same battles that everybody is facing. It says I choose to make the best of the challenges.
Yeah.
I don't run from them, I run with them.
Yeah. It's fine to idolize someone, but you've also got to realize that at some point during their day, they will let out the biggest, smelliest fart. And they will go and they will pick their nose and not know what to do with the bogey. Like, people, that is humans. And when you don't see that side on social media, you don't see that side of people. And you've got to remember that when you're scrolling and you're seeing people loving life, being happy, it's not an attack on your own personal life. It is, you can use it as fuel and inspiration, or you can let it destroy you. Like if you look at Sarah in a bikini running the sea having the time of her life, there is no reason you cannot feel that way as well. The whole point is that you get inspired by it. You go out there and do your own thing, whether it's cold water therapy, whether it's motivational videos, whether it's a podcast. Go and do your own thing and try it, and stop hating on other people and comparing yourself to other people, because like Sarah said, behind the scenes she's just chill. You probably like your Netflix and your pizza and stuff. It's like we work at obviously the gym below and stuff, and we're very good at showing that we have pizza. Yeah. We aren't just chicken, rice, and broccoli every day. It's not like that. But we also want to just inspire people to live a good life, a balance, and a life that works. What's sustainable for them as well. So
exactly.
Yeah, and obviously feeding your brain the right sort of information as well. We kind of touched on that a little bit earlier, but I'm curious, like, in terms of what you view and what you watch now, what sort of content are you consuming?
Only things that inspire me. So like even from films, I won't watch necessarily a film unless it's going to inspire me and impact me in a powerful way. Like at the minute, especially since January, I would say, I've not necessarily turned the TV off, don't get me wrong. I'll have the odd night where I want to watch a murder series or something like that. I love stuff like that.
We're currently watching the MH370 flight. The plane I went missing. I think we're an hour in, and I'm like, oh my god, what the fuck? Like, how is something like that? I love stuff like that, like anything mysterious.
But like even when I've got the telly on, I'll still have a book in my hand, and I'm still reading. And because for me, you can never do too much learning and reading, and I know that I might be at a very confident level now with quite a lot of knowledge and skills and traits that I've developed on the way, but like I know that I still haven't done enough.
We're never the finished article, are we?
Exactly. Like I want to develop more. Like I just feel like I've got that burning desire in me to give so much more value to other people. Yeah. That if I'm just investing in negative stuff, I'm not ever going to get there. And, I've got to remember, I'm a role model to 3 girls as well. And I want them to look at the mum and think, right, okay, if I get this challenge or something similar in their lifetime, they'll look back and think, well, actually, how did mum do it? Yeah. Well, she was reading good stuff. She was watching inspirational stuff. She never gave up. She was disciplined. She was consistent.
You want them to do what you do, not what you say. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So that is that is how you inspire people. They don't necessarily listen to what you say. They watch what you do. Yeah. 100%. And you've got to see something. What is it, like 8 times before it really hits with somebody else?
Probably. Yeah. With some people, it's like 25.
People. I mean, I've come across loads of people in the past, especially running a business, where they'll say, "Oh, like your dreams are too big. You'll never be able to do that. That's impossible." So I just show them with my actions, and I show them with success. It doesn't matter how long it takes. I know I can do it, and I will do it. And it's just about, like, I'll always surround myself with people that have achieved what I want to achieve. Yeah. Don't go and ask advice from somebody that hasn't done what you want to do, because that's not going to...
I think parents are the worst for that, because like 100%. A lot of people, we grew up with, where parents telling us what to do, what not to do, etc. And a lot of people still look to their parents as an authority figure and advice. Yeah. And I'm like, if I went and asked my mom and dad how I should run a podcast, they haven't got a fucking clue. Yeah, they've never even been on camera in their life. I think the last time my mom or dad used a camera was one of them camcorders that, the fucking 90s big thing. But, you know what I mean? It's like, ask the right people the right questions. Yeah. Because a lot of the time, you'll ask people on social media for opinions, for example. Like, someone will go, oh, what's the best, da-da-da. Right? It's like, you can't rely on just 40 people's just like, unless you're looking for a driving instructor or something like that. But it's always better to go with people who have been in those shoes and you're trying to get into those kind of shoes. Or
even people on the same journey as you. I've noticed through everything, even my cold water journey, that actually I'm more open to a lot of things as well, like meeting new people. And I think when you're on a journey of, uncovering who you are as a person and all that stuff, like, I appreciate everyone that comes into my life, and it's just knowing that, I'm very aware that not everyone will stay in your life. People will just be in your life for maybe a week, a season, but some of them come to stay. But I'm always learning off new people and being around similar people with similar interests, because I thrive off that deep conversation with people. And, when you're on the same level of respect and similar interests, like it's so much easier just to cheer each other on and be
Yeah.
like, right, come on, like let's go, get up.
Yeah, like people tend to hate on successful people because they think
Yeah.
they want to keep them at the bottom. It's like, no, successful people
wanna-
want you to be successful.
Yeah,
They
we wanna
want to
raise-
show you how to do it.
Exactly, we want to raise them up.
Yeah, they're not giving you advice as a successful person because they want to look better than you. They're giving you advice because they want to raise you
Yeah.
up as well.
Like a lot of people say that I inspire them, but I mean, I'm being inspired by many people.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? That's where
Is there
I'm
anyone in
getting
particular that you watch or listen to that really inspires you?
Yeah, like Stephen Bartlett, I watch.
Yeah, the Diary of a CEO.
Yeah, the Diary of a CEO. Absolutely love all of his podcasts, and actually his book, The Happy Sexy Millionaire.
I didn't know he had a book.
Oh my god!
How did I not know he had a book?
Honestly, you have to
I
listen
didn't.
to
I
that.
didn't know I had a book. I didn't know he had a book. And to be fair, I listened to.
You clearly knew.
Yeah, I didn't. I swear to God, I didn't know he had a book. I mean, I could assume he had a book, but I listened to his Liver King. I think the Liver King one was probably my favorite one I listened to. Did you listen to that one?
I'm not sure.
Liver King's mad. Like, he's just like this massive dude. But obviously, I think the thing with Liver King is he's getting hated on at the minute because he told everyone that he didn't do steroids. Clearly, fucking did steroids. Like, you don't get like the turtle belly from not doing steroids.
Yeah.
But
But no, honestly, you need to read. You would gain lots.
What did you say
value.
the book was called?
Happy Sexy Millionaire.
Happy Sexy
So
Millionaire.
when I first got this book, it was while I was in business actually, because everybody around us was doing their own thing, and so I never used to be this person that woke up at 5 a.m. every single morning. And when you're going through this phase of like moving higher up a level and stuff like that, all the leaders were waking up at like 6 o'clock in the morning, but they were putting pressure on me to do the same. Now I'd built a business without doing that at the same level as they did, so
It's not for everyone,
I never
though, to do that,
understood it. But like, even just having that pressure and putting that on somebody else, though, like that would put them off business, knowing that you've got to get up at 6 o'clock just to be successful. No thanks.
Yeah.
So when I bought Happy Sexy Millionaire, I thought, I'm going to be a happy sexy millionaire. But the book, honestly, life changing. It's not what you expect. And one of the things in there, he was actually talking about like how he didn't get up at like 5, 6 o'clock in the morning as well to be successful. And when a book is just really speaking to you, and
it's like, relatable as well.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's the thing that I had the problem with them. David Goggins. Like, I love David Goggins. Like, do you know David Goggins?
I've heard of him.
Yeah, he's like I think he used to be like really fat.
Right.
And then he like went in the military and probably slimmed down. He's a lot to kind of take in. He's very much harsh, truth kind of thing. But I've totally forgot where I was going with this point. I was in. What the fuck was I but yeah, so like he's not there. Yeah, so he's not relatable to me. I find him a bit full on. He kind of just shouts at you to get off your fat ass. But he does it while running next to the camera, so he's like jogging. You know what I mean?
Right.
And he's brilliant. But again, it's like what's sustainable and what's relatable when you read these books. Like there's some, like I had a stand-up comedian on a few weeks back, and he was like saying that he was like, he supported like John Bishop and Jason Manford and stuff. There's like big names in comedy, and he's like, I got up at 1 today because I could. You know what I mean? And it's like there's different. You don't need to be like, you still get the same amount of time in a day, because you're gonna have to go to bed at some point, unless you're gonna stay up for past however long. But you're still gonna get that same amount of hours, whether you get up at 6 a.m. or whether you get up at 9.
As long as as long as you're not wasting your time and making use of the little time that you've got. Yeah. Like, you can be successful. I did it. I've went from being homeless to a 6-figure earner. If I can do it, literally anybody can. Yeah. Like, I'm just a normal woman.
100%. I think that's what makes it relatable and enjoyable as well. When someone, you can see how they grow as well. I think that's why people love watching journeys now. Or I think that's why. Do you remember like the old school YouTube days of like vloggers and stuff where it was going through their life? People loved seeing behind the scenes. Like when you watch a movie, you like to watch the bloopers or the behind the scenes or the interviews, because you love seeing what people are like behind the scenes. People crave that authenticity.
Yeah, like this is why I love podcasts and like what you do and Stephen Bartlett does, because it's.
Oh, like, you named me and Stephen Bartlett in the same sentence.
So it's like the interviewing these big names, but you know what? It's like I'm not bothered about their celebrity status as such. I'm more interested in how they did it, and I would like to hear about the childhood that they had. Yeah. And actually, when you get to the nits and grits of any successful person, they haven't had an easy past.
No.
And that is what is relatable to my story and the life that I've lived. So for me, when I'm listening to, big CEOs of big companies and how they've done it and the challenges that they faced, I'm like, bloody hell, I've been through that. I can relate to that. Oh my God, so I am on the right path. It becomes relatable, and then the more, I'm not saying I'm going to be a big CEO of anything, by the way, guys, but...
Hey, you never know. Put those dreams in the universe.
Yeah, exactly. But it just makes me, want to keep pushing. If that's how they do it, I'm already doing it. I've just got to keep going. Winners never quit.
And quitters never win.
Exactly.
Boom. I love it.
Mic drop!
You were waiting for a mic drop.
I want a mic drop moment.
This whole, it's like an hour and 20 minutes of you waiting for a mic drop moment. I love it. So what is next for you, do you think? Obviously, you're going to continue the sea dips, obviously. What are you hoping to go for next? What's kind of the next project that you're hoping to go for?
So this is something I've been trying to figure out, I suppose, for the past 6 months. What are my next steps? Would I go back into business? Or, for me... I'm just very much listening to my intuition and trusting that whatever's next will be the right path. But I am very more aligned and would like to get involved in more motivational speaking,
nice.
Mental health work. To be honest, as long as I'm focusing on service to others, I'd be fulfilled.
Nice. Amazing. So where can people follow your journey? What kind of handles have you got on social media? Where can people find you? So
on Instagram, it's Jodie_Icewoman. Facebook, Sarah Goldsborough. TikTok, Sarah Goldsborough, I think. Or Jodie Icewoman on there.
There'll be some underscores in there somewhere as well.
Somewhere or
I'll put it on the screen. I'll put it on the screen as well.
Yeah, so I'm on Facebook, Insta, and TikTok at the moment.
Amazing. Which one do you favour the most? I'm curious. I'm always curious which one sort of resonates with you the most.
It's Facebook. That's where I've grew my business.
Nice. See, I love it. Instagram's my favourite. TikTok, I'm alright.
See, Instagram, I find it very hard sometimes. I just can't grasp it. I mean, I love it for making my reels and stuff. That's where I make them all. And connecting with people. But I don't know. It just, when just something just
doesn't sit right with it.
Yeah. Get the grasp of it.
Yeah.
But whereas Facebook, I think I've mastered Facebook now.
Nice. Well, you're always on my... I honestly cannot scroll on social media without seeing you. I don't know how many videos do you make a day?
I only make one video a day.
One a day. I'm like, Sarah, Stephen Bartlett, Sarah. I'm like... all I see is just C. When I scroll. And maybe I need to follow more people on Twitter and stuff. But honestly, Sarah, this has been an absolute roller coaster of an episode. I'm emotional. I've laughed. I've absolutely thoroughly enjoyed having you on. So thank you everyone for listening. As always, please give us the best rating possible. None of this 4-star rating shit. You know who you are. It's either 5 stars or you get the hell off my podcast. So thank you very much for listening, guys, and I will see you all in the next episode.